the power, can you feel it? Just be yourself, the power in you. Your shield's what you've been through, and your mind is a weapon, put it to use. Power, 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 the power, 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 the power, power. Nobody can stop you, you ahead of the curve. Sit there and listen and use what you learn. I know you got pain, there's blood on the curb. Money to get, stripes to earn. I'm here to confirm it's your turn. Your own superhero in your own world. You got the power like a generator. You need to dig deeper and you can thank me later. Put paint where it ain't, but you ain't no painter. Take steps and start running on them haters. Just be yourself, that should motivate you. And wish good on the ones that hate you. Keep grinding, in due time you will climb. If you've been through it all, put it behind. You got the power, the real kind. Go ahead and shock the world right now. It's the power, can you feel it? Just be yourself, the power in you. Your shield's what you've been through, and your mind is a weapon, put it to use. Power, 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 the power, 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 power. With all the money in the world, you could be broke. Life is not a game, life is not a joke. Get your childish Gambino on and stay woke. Turn the power on and go at they throat. Everybody got power, it's how they use it. Seen it the other day, boy, it ain't a movie. Raw like sushi, nighttime gloomy. Dope fiends walking around, that's spooky. Dig deep, come on, man, bring it out. You can't bring it out sitting there on the couch. Go get uncomfortable and take it there. Use your powers right now and don't play fair. Give them a lesson and pull up a chair.
Welcome, guys and girls, ladies and gents, and people of all worlds, to another episode of Kojay's Corner. Now, today's episode is going to be called episode 2.5. It is actually the third episode, but it is chaptered as 2.5 because third episode is already done. It is Video Games Part 2 with Yokai Robo. That is on the way. However, it's been a pivotal time for people who are fans of the Snyder Cut, who are learning about the Snyder Cut, who are down to see the Snyder Cut. This is for you. This is, I'm interviewing a brother, a good friend. I love him dearly. This is Pili Swain of his show Go Deep. If you do not know, check out his channel. He has this wonderful podcast called Go Deep. In fact, if you look to the right, my left, your right on my YouTube channel, you will see Mr. West Ashley. Click on that. That'll take you to his channel and check out Go Deep, and you're welcome. So yeah, that'll be all the interviews he has and the discussions regarding Snyder Cut, and it keeps you pretty much up to date. And it's sticking to the truth. And what is the truth? It is whatever the director is sharing with us, because he's the one who made the damn thing. So anyways, I don't want to waste any more time. I want to go into this interview that you will get to know my very, very good friend, Pili Swain, and a little intro to Snyder Cut after we get to know him. So I'm not wasting any time. Here we go. Pili Swain, the man of Go Deep. What's up, Pili?
What's going on, Kojay?
Nothing much. Just finally over jet lag for my trip and all that.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having me on, man. How was your trip?
Oh, the trip was good. It was long. It was mostly working, so when I came back and I was all tired, that's when I actually got lazy and I just slept and lost track of time, and I was just jet lag took a lot longer than it should have.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, but it was cool. It was cool. So, this time you're the guest. How's that feel?
Yeah, feels weird. I feel like asking you questions, but I'm just gonna sit back and wait for you to ask me.
Well, this is cool. You're the star. This is like technically third episode, and my show is very small. I'm a baby Spartan. You're a grown Spartan, and then we have all the older Spartans. Haha. So, I'm going to ask you questions so we get to know you, but also I want to introduce newcomers to Snyder Cut with you, and I think this is the best time for that.
All right.
So, first off, I got to ask you,
Yep.
the number one question that's on everyone's minds, I'm sure, is,
all right,
how much do you love chopped and screwed hip-hop? Is that your favorite thing?
Chopped and screwed. No, I mean, it's not really my favorite thing, but I like it a lot. Maybe like 7 out of 10. but I figured out with like go deep, right? Chopped and screwed hip hop is deep sounding music, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it just fits. It's deeper music, go deep, and it kind of see when I do my go deep, I try to get everybody in a certain mindset, like a deep, um, weird mindset. And chopped and screwed music is deep and weird all in one, you know.
What do you mean by weird?
Like I don't know, man. Like a journey,
Why would
like
that be weird, you
a
think? Did you say weird as in like just for a normal
just out of the normal, out
I
of the
see.
normal. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Not,
That's a good weird.
not yeah, yeah. It's a good weird. So that's why I got chopped and screwed music because it's like, first of all, it's a deep voice, it's a deep sound that amplifies the bass, but it also kind of feels like you're going deep down a rabbit hole, you know?
Oh, I like that. And I
Yeah,
like Alice
that's
in
the
Wonderland.
point.
I like that because I learned a lot from your show too. So that's really good.
Oh yeah,
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 because a lot of conspiracies I think about and then want to hear about from the other end, and also from other angles I don't see, because a lot of it's perception, like watching Clues. So it's kind of cool
right,
to hear, especially you and Brian Coom when you guys get together. That's always really
right.
good. I call you guys like world's finest because it's like, whoa, what else is happening?
Yeah, Brian is cool. He a lot of that stuff we talk about in like inbox messages and direct messages, but then every time when it gets like mainstream, that's when we got to go podcast with it. Because a lot of times the shit we say, people don't even know. So if we podcast it, people wouldn't really catch on to it, you know?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. That's very smart. So we're actually getting the breadcrumbs from the real meal that you guys have.
Yeah, yeah, correct, correct.
Dang.
And a lot of times the real meal might be too close to Zack Snyder, you know, Hollywood and different shit like that. So we always try to package it so it won't, it won't make anybody that we like look bad, you know?
Oh, I see. There's a part of me that worries sometimes is like, oh, is this idea so scary that what if I'm right? They'll come out and kill me. You ever have one of those?
Yeah, man. All the time.
Dang. See, I'm new to that. That's crazy. So, anyways, let's rewind a bit. We'll go back to
All
Snyder
right.
Cut, but you've had experience in the music industry, correct?
Oh, yeah.
What's that like?
I
You were a
did,
producer, or?
well, yeah, at first I was producing. I was just making beats. And I wasn't good at it. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I used to put like my beats on my friend's MySpace page, right? So basically, as soon as people go on their MySpace page, they'll hear my music. So that got my numbers to go way up, just just like out of nowhere. So the industry started calling me, thinking I'm, got some great numbers and shit. So that's when they started kind of working with me, and I did a few people's mixtapes, but at the time I didn't really know what I was doing, so I was just doing it, faking it to make it. But um, while I learned, I kind of learned on the job, and then I kind of got me and my friends involved in it, and we made a mixtape called the Carl Smalls Project. We made Carl Smalls Project Part One and Part Two. We did that in like 2012, but we recorded like 60 songs real fast. So we had a lot of songs to put on two different mixtapes. But we did it to the point where, so I kind of knew some people in the industry, so I just would get them on the mixtape, and so it kind of got some industry noise and some industry following. I named it Carl Smalls Project because one of my friends, he was like a good friend growing up, but he was a Crip, and he was Crip like gang member, and he was going to the NFL, um, played football in college, played football in high school. He was on my football team, but the summer he was maybe going to get drafted, he got shot and killed by some Bloods, and so he never made it to the NFL. So we just named the CD after him. We did 2 mixtapes, and that kind of got my foot in the music industry. But then after that, people started wanting me to do their shit for them. So that's how I started making money. I started doing other people's mixtapes for them.
And then why did that end? Or how did that end? Hello? Oh no, we lost him. I'm gonna have to edit this.
My bad. Did I do that or did you do that?
I don't know. I was just like, it was at it was at a funny point where you finished talking about mixtapes and making money, and then I just asked you. I was like, and then how come you're not doing that anymore? What happened in the end? And then silence. I was like, oh crap! I hit a nerve already.
Oh no! Hell no! I don't got no nerves to hit, really.
I know, good, man.
All my shit is funny, man. Let's see. So I got in that industry, and then I started learning that industry was like fraternal, you know, like everybody had to be a part of a certain fraternity, kind of, you know. So it was, I would get like a bunch of people behind the scenes, you know, not like in public. They were behind the scenes. They used to hit me up and, you know, try to teach me different shit, you know, like, I don't know what to call it, some Mason shit or some like Illuminati shit or whatever.
All those dark circles we kind of talk about in your podcast.
Yeah, so. Yeah. So that crew started hitting me up a lot because, so we're from, like, my crew, we're from down south. We're from Charleston, South Carolina, but we don't rap or, you know, like Southern music. It's more like hip hop type music, but it,
So what you're saying is not regional.
Right. It was more global. Like, it could, so say for instance we had like a Wu-Tang member on it or something like that. Wu-Tang is big overseas, right?
Yeah.
So I would get a bunch of people all over the world always hit me up, right? Mm-hmm. So it was, you know, we get those. I started getting a lot of like dark circles type shit hit me up in my inbox, and, you know, trying to ask me to do certain things, and, you know, I started learning the music industry. I started learning it for what it really was, and it's like a big show. Up front is like, you know, like the Wizard of Oz, but in the back there's people behind the curtain, and I didn't really want to get down with them, you know?
Yeah. I feel you on that, because it's like you're in it for the art, you're in it for your own specific dreams, and then
right.
We think that, you know, making the music, making the film, making the art, yada, 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 is the goal. But then when you get there and you see behind the screen and you see that there's some other polar opposite off-wall organization system going on that had nothing to do with the dream. It's just...
Correct.
If you're not attracted to that kind of power, that just feels very awkward and alienating. From my experience, It sounds like yours too.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And at the time it was, I don't know, I think I was going through like life changes and all type of crazy shit.
Like what?
Let's say around that time, I was, so 2010, I went to jail. Fucking not long, but I got arrested. But before that, I used to sell cars like Garza. And I was you know.
Wait, did you say Garza?
Like Garza, John Aaron Garza.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a car salesman, and I was, you know, shirt and tie all day. blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. But I'm from like the hood, you know, so uh, me wearing a shirt and tie was just like it stood out kind of. So that's where I got that name, Mister, from Mister West Ashley, because it looked like I was a Mister, I guess, or whatever. But
Yeah.
at that time, I was just doing stupid shit, selling drugs, blah blah blah, and so I got arrested. My life kind of changed, and it was changed to the point where like everything was changing. My house, my girl, my kids, everything.
Mm.
So at that time, I started. I don't even know why, but I started becoming like a conspiracy theorist or some shit like that. I just started like researching shit because I don't know why, dog. I don't know what made it happen, but I just changed. So then, um, I guess while I'm researching shit, it kind of maybe reflected in my music or my post or something. I don't know what it did, but um, so in that few year period, I started researching like conspiracy shit, and I started researching just watching all type of shit online. So I guess going through life changes and not being um, just some little young rich asshole dude, everything was different. So that's when I started learning about like these little secret cabals and shit like that in the industry. So then I I still knew how to get money, I guess. So I went and started funding a record company by myself called
Mm.
Beat House Productions, and that's the little house you see at the beginning of my podcast. But I started funding that by myself. I started getting all my friends in the hood, and we started doing all this music shit. But I was still like the brains of the shit, you know. I don't know why I was researching shit like that, but I guess God led me a certain way. So I guess my whole life was just changing from being a car salesman to now being a company owner. But um, I wasn't really doing it right because I was still funding it with like drug money. So it was like money off the street. But I had just like it just blew up, man. I don't know how to explain it, but it blew up way more than I expected to blow up. So I started just getting like people, like I said, from all over the world, just trying to fuck with me. But I was still that dude, like researching this shit, turning into little conspiracy theorists and this, that, other. So I guess when these little people, when I saw behind the curtain, it didn't really surprise me because for some reason I was already studying that type of shit. So it didn't really surprise me or it didn't really scare me or worry me, but I didn't want to be involved in it, right?
Right.
So how I changed, I started doing everything by myself. So instead of needing people in the industry, I just did it by myself, or I paid somebody to do it. So that kind of grew me real, real, real big until I started podcasting. So I me and my brother, we started a podcast studio called Do Work Media. And that's when we left the rap game, kind of, because I didn't really want to do rap anyway. I thought I could do like rap music to get me to the movie industry, right? So I thought if I could make some money in rap, I can go to the movie industry and start making some movies. That was my plan. So rap was never really what I wanted to do. I just
Ah.
was good at it for some reason. And then, so somebody tipped us. No, no, no. Here's what happened. So I did a music video in Miami, and we came back and somebody wanted to interview me about it, and they were like, so I went and saw his little studio and his setup, and I was like, yo, I can do this shit. How much, what do I got to do to make my own studio? And he was like, yeah, well, we will do it if you want me to produce it. So we started our own shit. But then when we did our first season, it's called Do Work Radio. We basically started interviewing everybody in Charleston. Now I got a lot of connections and a lot of hookups. So I was interviewing people in Charleston that was actually doing work, doing something that, was cool or whatever. So when I started interviewing people, we kind of blew up again. And that same little dark circle came back.
No.
Yeah.
You got a magnet on you, man.
I don't know what the hell going on. So yeah, they came back and they got into that podcasting company. And then a few years went by and I started noticing how they were steering us to something other than what we wanted to do. So I got out, started doing my own thing, and that's where Go Deep comes from.
Wow. Now,
yeah,
it's a crazy journey hearing some of the things you did, because I could see some of you in that, but also there's a part of you where I'm like, nah, that Pili wouldn't be like that. It's like you've
what?
been through such a... No, it seems like you've... Pretty much you went through a change of self... what's the word I'm looking for?
Awareness.
No. But like an illuminating enlightenment
kind
of deal.
Enlightenment, yeah.
And
definitely.
It sounds like a couple things flipped into that, but it seems like maybe you were always ready to awaken sooner than later. And so when it happened, I'm just trying to figure it out because you said
probably.
It was like in 2010 you're arrested, and then all these changes. And how did God's word resonate more with you?
Oh wow, okay. So all of that shit started way before 2010. Like I'd probably been through some weird ass shit that I don't know, just some weird shit.
You can open up this Kojay's Corner. We're cool.
Yeah, no, I mean I don't know, just my life. You ever think like you just like you not coming?
So I'm kind of losing you. What?
You ever think like you don't fit in, or sometimes you just hear people talk and you're like, damn, I don't agree with. You ever notice like most people talk about something and you might not agree and you're like, damn, I don't fit in with these people, or I don't. I've always been that guy.
Sometimes it's not even a conversation. Sometimes it's just mannerisms, like a certain area, group of people. You're just kind of like, this is kind of off. And I feel singled out somehow. Right.
So it's like that. So I'm always that weird person, right?
But I feel you.
So yeah, a lot of y'all feel me. So it feel like I came in a circle with a bunch of people like me, but in this world, it felt like I was out of place. So when so everything I was doing in life was probably just trying to be normal, trying to fit in, right? But it really wasn't me. But I was just doing it just to fit in. So, I would probably say in 2010 that shit happened, but I was always weird. I was probably forever weird. And it was, so when I got arrested, right, here's what got me to research, because I wanted to figure out, damn, how did they get me? Like, what world am I living in that I just walked into this fucking arrest, So I'm like, all right, whatever. So now I'm going to figure it out. So before I got arrested, the police, used to play little games on my phone. Like, they used to say shit, just, text stupid shit, And so now, at that time, I was like, So now I'm gonna watch them like they're watching me. You know, that was my
Okay.
mindset. I don't know why,
All right.
but my mindset was like I'm gonna watch them like they watch me. So now I started trying to learn about secret societies and shit like that. Um, and I just wanted to get smart because I walked into basically being arrested. So I felt I was dumb or I wasn't on point. So being enlightened, yeah, it was. It did feel like an enlightenment, but it felt like I was just trying to do it to get back at somebody, you know?
I see. Because
Yeah.
you also seem very spiritually positive too.
Oh yeah. That's that's what I'm talking about. The weirdness.
Oh,
So
that's the weirdness. So okay? So it must be a different type of town because some places they would regard that as like this is the guy who's like the rest of us, you know? I guess
no,
it's.
right. But so in Charleston, it's a deep south, Charleston, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's nobody. So I came here. We moved to Charleston in 1989. I was no 88. I was born in Orlando, Florida. Check this out. I was born in the oldest black neighborhood in America. It's
Uh-huh.
called Eatonville, Orlando, like right outside of Orlando. But so you remember the movie Rosewood, right?
Yeah.
Where they burned down Rosewood and all the black people had to walk and start a new town.
Uh-huh.
So the town that they walked to after Rosewood was burned down is the town I was born in, right?
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, yeah. So there's something like spiritual about my family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we moved to Charleston, we moved because my mom got divorced and she just wanted to get away from Georgia. We went from Florida to Georgia to Charleston. So then we came here and we like my mom was like a Rasta type lady, you know, kind of like she wanted us to keep our African roots because my name is Pili, but I was born in America. Pili is a Swahili name for second born. Um, so we came here. We all had like little dreadlocks, and nobody in Charleston had dreadlocks. Like it's a fad right now, but when we came and we were doing it, nobody was doing it. We used to wear like little baby kid dashikis,
Yeah.
and it's a fad now, but in '88 it wasn't. You know what I mean? So this is what I'm saying. We always been different. My
Mm.
name, African name. Everybody else's name was, you know, Antoine or some bullshit. So we were always not right, or we always stood out. So um, I guess that's where the spiritual shit come from. Come from my mama. It come from she always wanted to keep that our roots really really stuck to us. So then that was the beginning of my weirdness. I thought it was normal, but when we go to school and you got dreadlocks and nobody know what dreadlocks is, they're like, "Hey, what the hell is that?" so
Yeah,
so
I
my
know.
whole life I've been defending my weirdness, right? So it was I think that's where the spirituality come from. So when I'm doing shit like in 2010, fast forward, we out here, selling drugs and doing the stupid shit. That was just me doing what everybody else is doing. That wasn't me doing what I'm supposed to do. That was
Mm.
just me doing some stupid shit, what everybody else is doing. But when I got out of that type shit, I started really, really doing what I'm going to do because when I got arrested, so I used to like take care of everybody. Like people used to come to my house and drink my liquor and smoke my weed and do this, but I had so much, I just didn't care. So it was always a party at my house. But then when I got arrested and had to stop doing all of that shit, people stopped coming around, you know?
Mm. So I've seen a
So then
change.
now it's me by myself. So that gave me so much more time into learning myself. So I guess the enlightenment was when I got out of the midst of everybody else and I had to really focus on myself. That's where that shit comes from.
Wow, it sounds like you've been through a couple. You've been through walls and doors and windows
Hell yeah, bro.
of things. You know what I mean? Like, I could kind of relate because I've seen people change their attitude around me. Because sometimes, you know, well, I'm biracial. You know, different name coming here, so I always felt weird too. But you know, I was like, all right, that's just, you know, people around me are weird, not me. So, but when I went into castings, and then when people knew I was a casting associate or a casting director on an indie film or whatever, people were very friendly, very approachable, and all of a sudden I was like, ooh, I feel like I'm 6'10" or something, right? But then when I'm not, then I see how I'm really treated, and it's totally different, and I see the change in people's faces and demeanor.
Yeah.
You know, when they can realize they can get something from you, as opposed to when you're just being yourself and they don't need anything from you, and how they treat you from there.
Correct.
So,
I was in casting too. I was in a movie. I was in The Patriot. Remember with Mel Gibson?
oh, for real?
Yeah, Heath Ledger.
Yeah. I know that one.
They came down to Charleston to film, right? And I was in drama in high school, and I used to make the high school TV show. I used to, you know, shoot it, edit it, produce it, all that shit.
Dang, no wonder you're so good at it.
No.
Alright, whatever.
So, these people came to the school that I went to. They came to St. Andrews.
Uh-huh.
And they were like, you know, everybody was a big casting call. They wanted extras. They wanted like slaves, and they wanted, you know, like kind of people that work in the house at the slave house and all type of shit like that. So it was like thousands of people that came to our school, and I was the dude who ushered the line because I was in drama, and we had to usher the line for the casting people. So then the casting people, they saw me and they were like, "Hey, you come here. You want to put in your mugshot or whatever it's called, your face?"
Headshot.
And headshot, yeah. See, I've been arrested though.
Mugshot. You know, there really is no difference.
Right. So they were like, "You want to put in your headshot?" And I said, "I can't because I work. I go to the school." And they were like, "Don't worry about it. Just come in." You know. So I ran in there real quick, and they took my picture, and they called me. So I was the only one out of all those people that got picked, but I wasn't even supposed to do it. But so then, when I guess like Wardrobe was in Georgetown, which is about an hour away from us, right? So we drove, and my mom drove me, and then they were like, "Hey, did your mom want to be in it?" And I was like, "All right, let me ask her." And she said, "Yeah." So we were the only two people picked out of Charleston, and they filmed in Charleston, but we were the only one picked, and it was by accident. So that was another weird shit. I got a lot of weird stories like that in my life, but I guess casting, you were talking about it, so that's how I figured it.
Wow, that is cool. That's a little bonus note. Wow. That is cool, man. Yeah, sometimes they're weird like that. And sometimes like, we just need one. This guy is a good worker, and he looks good too. So they probably got you. Haha. So that's good. Huh. Now, you said, I guess a lot of things are changing in the last 8 years for you, right? Drastically?
Oh, yeah. It was, the last 8 years? Yeah. It drastically. So, all right. So I go from this car salesman at like 25 or whatever, and a drug dealer. But so it's just like stupid money, you know, like just money that I didn't even, you know what I mean? Like I didn't even have no maturity to hold on to that type of money.
Right.
So,
no hard earned thing. It just came really a lot in one clump.
Right. So I had everybody around me that was just around me for that, and even I would say, so my kid's mother, right? I met her in high school, but she wasn't my girl then. She was my girl afterwards,
Mm.
after school. But she knew me in the streets or whatever, whatever. And I don't know if I can say really that. So after I got arrested, I couldn't really sell drugs no more like that, and I couldn't sell cars. So I had to go do whatever little side jobs to make money. We had a big ass house and whatever, whatever. But that kind of changed like the dynamic of our relationship, right? So it's now, instead of me taking care of everything, like she had to start taking care of everything. But I don't know if she liked that too much looking back on it, but whatever. So she fucking, I don't want to say like she left me because I was fucking, not no rich drug dealer no more. I don't want to say that, but it kind of feels like that sometimes. But then at times she would come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I know she loved me, but I guess our life was just different. And maybe I was just an asshole. I probably was an asshole, most likely, because I was fucked up too. So I probably wasn't treating her right, all this other shit. But so she would come back periodically, and we would get back together. And each time we got back together, we would have another kid. Like
That's pretty passionate. Wow.
Yeah, it was fucking retarded, dog. Like. So we had Kimora, my oldest girl. We had her first before I got arrested. So she was like 2 months old while we were going through my, court case and all that shit. So then, we stayed together for about another 2 years. So Kimora's like 2, and me and Shelly break up, and so now it's just me and Kimora, because Shelly would go to work every day. So she just would drop Kimora off to me. So it was just me and Kimora chilling, So then I went and bought like this music equipment and tried to learn how to do that shit while Kimora just hanging out with me. So I'm watching Kimora, blah, blah, blah. So each time we would have another kid. So we went through like breakups 3 different times. So we had Kimora, Marlo, and Cheo. And each one of them kind of come in the same similar situation. But so that was drastically changing. And once I got good in the music industry, some dudes was trying to get me to move out to California with them. And I was about to go, and that would have put me right money-wise, right? I would have bounced back. But then Shirley got pregnant with Cheo, the middle one. So I was like, nah, I can't go. So I stayed in Charleston. So each time I'm trying to figure out how to hustle because, all right, so you got a cocaine charge on your resume. You can't really get a job, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta figure it out. You gotta find a way to make money. So that's what I was doing. So that's what the music business comes from. So yeah, so I'm trying to hustle to get rich again, and that's where my drive to get in the music business. But like I said, the music business was just a stepping stone because I wanted to get into the movie business after that. So it became, I started having like tunnel vision, right? So when I was having tunnel vision, I started really not caring about nobody else around me. And I don't know if that was good or bad, but I just really started neglecting everything. And so that was changing. That was a big change in my life when I started, because a part of me, I was kind of mad that everybody, you think you got this big ass crew, but they're just around you because they're going to drink your liquor and smoke your weed and shit, But when I started kind of getting pissed, like, all you guys were fake. So now I'm just doing my own thing, right? So my brothers were still around me or whatever. But when I started like making noise in the music shit, that's when everybody started coming back. Like, oh yeah, hey, I've been with you since day one and whatever. That's so that changed. But at the time, I never called nobody out about it. So I just let it happen. Like, whatever. Now we got another big crew, right? Mm-hmm. So then this crew started getting huge, like Beat House. It was something. It was really something. But that changed until we started podcasting. And when we started podcasting, that was huge too. But I wanted it to be like Go Deep. So Go Deep, I can say anything I want to, right? It's my shit. I can say what I want. I can talk shit if I want to.
Complete freedom of speech.
I can do whatever. Right, freedom of speech, right. In both industries, the music industry and Do Work Media, they were trying to stop me from saying what I want. You see what I'm saying? They were trying to, oh man, you can't say that on the radio, shit like that. And so I was, I rebel over shit like that, so that comes to Go Deep. So yeah, it was a bunch of different changes, but it was a bunch of changes for me trying to find my way again, So I guess I was just changing when I started seeing people for who they were. Like I was growing up, I was always naive, always I don't know, I just trusted too many people, man. I trusted too much. So I would do everything for everybody and not get anything in return. But I thought that's just what I was supposed to do, So then going through all of this shit, it made me change to just do shit for myself and my kids. And I think I'm stronger now because it's hard for me to get tricked,
I think you are stronger too. It sounds like a mirror right now. I mean, granted, I haven't been through the same things you have, but there are some similar themes I'm hearing, such as I was doing what I thought I was doing because I was expected of, and if I do A, I could get the B, and if I get the B, I can get the C, and then I get the C, I get to go to my dreams. Like I went into the entertainment industry because I wanted to make films, but I didn't know how to get there. So I figured, okay, I'll go in as a worker, background actor, voice acting, stunts, dance, whatever, And then I got into behind the scenes because eventually I want to be a film person, but yada yada. I realized at one point I was busy doing everything for everybody else. My stuff became secondhand, and my stuff became the sacrifice.
Right.
You're supposed to sacrifice to your dreams, but not sacrifice your dreams.
Right. No, I feel you on that because Do Work was my sacrifice. Like, so I had my page that I have my podcast on now, my Mr. West Ashley page, right? Mm-hmm. And I just neglected that for about 3 or 4 years. I didn't do anything on it because I went to go build up another company. So I did all of that shit and we built it up huge. But I think at the time, we just had people around us that had their own agendas and they were moving us in ways that I didn't agree with, right? So it was like, so my brother's still there, but I sacrificed my shit to him because I was just like, you can keep it, you can have it. I don't want to do it. I can do this shit by myself, and that's what I did. So I went to Go Deep. I went and made Go Deep, and that's it. So our first season, we spent like, I don't know, man, probably $10,000 or $15,000 just on season 1. And it was just on like rent or parties and all this other shit, like equipment and all this other bullshit. But that was my sacrifice. So I just gave it up. even though I started it, it's mine. If you come to my house right now, you look on my door, I still have a tag that was on the front of my car that says "Do Work." But when there was just these people in it, man, and they had different agendas. So I just was like, I'm gonna step back, and I gave it to him. So I sacrificed that shit, and I went back to Beat House Productions and started Do Work.
It doesn't sound like you regret it though.
Nah, I don't. I'm happy. My shit is, man, my shit popping more than like anybody's shit around here, you know. But not like I'm bragging or nothing. But
Yeah.
I get to do what I want, you know, and it's reflecting when you know, like sometimes people be saying shit to me like, damn, man, you kind of saved my life, or you know, you did all this shit, you know. People say that to me like every day, so I feel like I'm making a impact, you know, and that's what I wanted to do. When I was with Do Work, they wanted us to talk about like radio friendly shit, you know, like Beyonce and stupid shit, and I was like, no, that's not. We're not like that. We're different, you know. We're our family is different. We know shit better than Beyonce and Jay-Z and bullshit like that. So, but they wanted to mold us to be like radio friendly, and shit, that's just not who we are. So I left.
I think you did the right thing, man, because I left my industry too, and even though I'm not as glamorous, the work I do feels more pure, and that's more enriching than getting a really nice paycheck for a week's worth.
Right.
So.
Right. I feel you.
Now, it's interesting that all these big changes happen in the span of 8 years, like for me too, because 2013 is the dawn of the DCEU, Zack Snyder.
Yep.
How'd that come into your life, or when did that start meaning something to you?
All right. Let's see. 2013. Looking back, we were like at the height of our music shit. Remember, we put out like 2 mixtapes in 2012.
Yeah.
And our last one was December of 2012. So then we start like going on these little tours and shit. That's like, I got these pictures with like Dave Bautista and shit like that. He was on the tour with us, or maybe he even funded the tour. I don't know, but
yeah, I think you showed me that picture.
Yeah. So that was when we were at the height, 2013, and I don't know what I was watching. I was in the movie theater and I saw Superman going through the intro of Man of Steel. I mean the trailer of Man of Steel, and he was just busting through the clouds like Sonic Boom, like boom, boom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then I was like, oh shit, what is this? So then it was like it was Superman. So I knew Zack Snyder from 300. I really liked 300, and I knew Zack Snyder from Watchmen. I really liked Watchmen also. But then I was a big Batman fan from the Christopher Nolan like trilogy, and that's how everybody knew me. I was just like the biggest Batman fan in the world, and you know. So when I saw this Superman, I was ready to see, you know, the Superman trilogy or whatever. So then I'm watching it. When I finally saw Man of Steel, I mean, that shit was just epic as hell, though. It was just like,
you don't gotta tell me. But go on. This is beautiful.
It was, man. That shit was just something just so different. So then I was hooked. I was hooked from Man of Steel, and it was, let's see, 2013. I don't remember really what was going on in life, but I remember I was just hooked watching Man of Steel. And then I remember BVS came out, and remember in I Am Legend there was like a BVS poster in the background when he was walking through New York City.
Oh yeah. Square. That's when people were thinking it was gonna be like Brandon Routh Superman versus what is it, Christian Bale Batman.
Right. That's what I was thinking too. Everybody was thinking that. But so like I was in my conspiracy theory mode at that time. So I was like, oh no, I know it's gonna be a Batman versus Superman one day because it was in I Am Legend, whatever. And I Am Legend was one of my favorite movies.
That's also a comic book.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember I even got a German Shepherd because of that movie. And yeah. That's precious. I like movies so much back then. Like when I started learning how directors and the Hollywood industry kind of do like foreshadowing of like real shit in their movies, So I used to start like trying to dissect movies, I used to watch them over and over and over to see like, Easter eggs or, how Hollywood kind of puts like real society shit in their movies, or they might even tell you like with Watchmen, and when they showed that scene about 9/11 when he was standing there and the blimp ran into the building, but it didn't really run into the buildings. It just looked like it did.
Mm-hmm.
But so I started watching movies like that, trying to figure them shit out, And I was in 9/11 also. Maybe I told you that before.
No, you didn't actually.
Yeah, I was in 9/11. So that's shit like that. Like I said, I've been through a lot of weird shit like that. Wow. I was in 9/11. I was in New York City when that shit happened. But
I only had 2 cousins there when that happened. I just heard about it, but dang.
Yeah, I got a crazy story about that, though. So,
go for it.
My birthday is on September 10th, right? So, the day before 9/11 was my birthday. So, I went up there. I lived in New York at the time, but check this out. I had a dream about 9/11 on my birthday. But you know how people can be like, oh, you probably had the TV on and you heard it or whatever?
No.
But our TVs didn't work because of 9/11. The building, it blew up when it dropped. All of our TVs went out. All the radios went out. Everything went out. It was like a complete blackout. So I couldn't listen to the TV in here. So I woke up. So in my dream, me and my friend, we were walking past the World Trade Center. And they were on fire. So then we were like, just walking like it was nothing, And then I remember looking up and I told my friend in my dream, I was like, we're going to need 2 World Trade Centers. We're going to need some new World Trade Centers tomorrow. And we just kept walking. So then I wake up and them shit are actually on fire, dog, in real life.
Wow.
Yeah, dog, I promise you, dog. So I called my mom. When I couldn't call her, I had this little thing called a 2-way pager, and it was the only way we can get back in touch down south. So I texted her on her email address, and she told me to write that dream down so I'll never forget it. But I'll never forget that shit anyway, because when I woke up, the buildings were literally on fire. So I was like, oh shit, I dreamed about this shit. So
dang.
We thought at first in New York, we thought it was just like a plane hit a building. We thought it was an accident. But then when the second one hit, it was like, oh shit, like we getting bombed or some shit like that.
Yeah, that's calculated.
Yeah, like it wasn't an accident then. So, but then when the buildings came down, people were running like from Manhattan to Brooklyn over the Brooklyn Bridge or whatever, or one of those bridges. They were running back, but people started saying stuff like, "There's anthrax." People started screaming anthrax, but I didn't even know what anthrax was, dog. So that was scarier than the buildings coming down, because they were saying anthrax like it was like AIDS or something. I don't, So we were like, what the fuck is anthrax? So everybody was trying not to get that that dust in their mouth or whatever, because we didn't want to get anthrax. So then, when it came down at night. Like the dust started coming back down at night. So you remember the scene on Batman Begins when they blew up the steam at the very end and everybody was getting scared? And
the fear gas.
That's how it looked, though. That's how it looked in New York when the dust came down. It looked like the steam in Gotham.
Oh, wow.
That's some weird shit. Yeah, it's some weird shit. And that was scarier than the buildings coming down because people thought the dust was anthrax. So people were trying not to breathe, though. Like, yeah, like seriously, like, don't breathe the shit in, you know? But it wasn't anthrax, I guess, whatever. But somebody was just saying that shit to try to scare us. But it was more than one person saying it. It was a bunch of people saying that shit.
Well, you know how fear spreads really quick.
Yeah. You're right. So that was the scariest part of 9/11.
Wow, man.
Anthrax. If you breathe, you're going to get anthrax. Yeah, but it was weird because I had a dream about that shit. Yeah, I'm telling you a lot of shit. I haven't opened up like this to nobody in the movement. So.
Oh, wow. This is on my show, so don't forget we're recording. This is not our regular conversations, you know? No, it's cool.
I don't care.
I mean, Kojay's Corner is pretty much like a little brother go deep, you know? Be real.
Yeah, no, I don't care.
Nah, it's cool. Wow. So, I never experienced such crazy events,
right,
other than like a bar fight or two. But I've had family affected by some, because in Sri Lanka at the time, for a long time, you had the Tamils and the Sinhalese. They were like at a little civil war with each other, and my aunt, she was at work. And you know how, was it the Oklahoma bombing where they parked in front of the hospital and then blew it up?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a similar one of that, except it was like in a coconut cart, and it blew up just like the Oklahoma City bombing, and the rubble from whatever wall or floor or ceiling smacked her in the face from all the explosion, and really cut her up and messed her up, and thank God she's alive. She's all right. But it was a crazy, traumatic situation, and I'm familiar with people committing suicide in front of a bus, crazy stuff.
Wow.
But enough to know and understand how tragic and horrifying actual acts of violence are. They have a gravitas. They have a realistic weight to them. There's nothing wishy-washy about it. And then they come to move over to America to be safe and all that, and they finally got to do it. And then like 6 years later, 9/11 happens, and then we're like, oh crap, the threat is everywhere. It's real. We take things for granted. And I think our movie Man of Steel captures that in a medium that is normally expressing what's going on in the world, regardless.
Right.
So, I felt a connection with, just life, and then seeing that reflected in Man of Steel, I thought was really good and original.
Hell yeah. I think that's probably, because I watched Man of Steel yesterday, and I remember, like, the final scene when Zod and Superman are fighting in New York, Metropolis. That looked like 9/11, I guess, but it didn't really. It looked more like it in BVS when you saw Batman running through the city.
Yeah, the aftermath.
Right. That's what looked like 9/11. But there was this one scene yesterday I saw on Man of Steel remember when they had to make the 0-point gravity boom to get them to, when he ran the airplane into the
Oh yeah, when he crashed it in, so the Phantom Zone.
Right. That was some crazy shit too, because that's like using an airplane as a weapon in a movie. You know what I mean? And it was like, like looked like Manhattan, but like I said, even in Watchmen, Zack Snyder had that blimp crashed into the World Trade Center.
Yep, he had that imagery.
Right. So, but in BVS, it was even deeper because it was like the smoke when the building came down, you know, everybody running away. That's how 9/11 looked, you know, and I mean, I don't know. I wish I could talk to Zach and ask him what is he trying to say, but yo, he put him in that movie, dog.
I think he was paying attention. Because
right.
I mean, I do like Avengers, and but they kind of downplay a lot of the horrors. I mean, they had like a floating alien going through buildings in Avengers, and you know, in the end, they had a very like hurrah, we saved the day, a very Angel Grove, Power Rangers type of situation. And you know, that's cool. That's what they gotta do. But I prefer more of the fantasy meets reality, so we could probably find something beautiful to hope for in such dark times, you know? I mean, that's my style. That's where I'm coming from. And I think that's important too. So we both know Zack Snyder capitalizes on that and uses that. And then BVS, at the opening scene, we saw the perspective of the attack from, you know, the civilians, us. Whereas before, we were seeing it from the people who were actually fighting the war. Like Superman's perspective, the military's perspective, and all that, you know?
Right.
So, now, Snyder Cut. What happened? When did you first see something was wrong?
Oh, man. So, shit. So, after, like, BVS, I still wasn't, like, behind the scenes. Like, you talk to some Spartans like the TPZ, and they can go back to even like Man of Steel when they get behind the scenes and shit like that. But I really wasn't on it like that. I was just watching them. But let's see. Justice League came out, and when I saw it, I just remember it was just like a Marvel versus DC type atmosphere war or whatever. And I was just really getting into like DC. I like DC better, you know, whatever. So when I first saw Justice League, I knew it just didn't seem right, but I wanted to shut up the Marvel haters bad, you know. So I even said some good shit about it on Facebook, I think, or I don't remember, maybe one of the social media, but I didn't really like know the behind the scenes. But then when I started kind of like tuning into people's YouTube and shit just to see what was going on, why did Superman have a mustache? I mean, a face look like that, and you know, like just it didn't seem like a Zack Snyder movie, man. But it was. I wanted it to do good because I wanted the Marvel people to shut up, right? So then it was, I learned about Zack Snyder's daughter, and then I started hearing about like Mustache Gate, and then I started hearing all this other shit. But so I think my kids wanted to make their podcast because I remember I came out of Do Work podcast shit. And they wanted to do their own shit, you know. So I started making them a podcast, and we were just like tripping on Marvel, you know. We wasn't really thinking about Snyder Cut or anything like that. We wasn't even thinking about the Spartans or nothing. We just wanted to talk shit about Marvel. So we got into it doing that, and then people just started saying like, "Hey, you know, why don't you use the hashtag release the Snyder Cut?" And it was like, all right, whatever. So when we used it on the next video, Fiona came into the comment section.
Oh, wow.
Now, I didn't know who Fiona was at all. You know, I was just like, all right, hey, but I heard about her like on Twitter, and I remember like Chris Wong used to talk about her and shit like that. So then I was like, all right, Fiona. But so she came in the comments and she was like, yo, can I share this on Vero? Zach will see it. And I said, yeah, no problem. If Zach see it, I'll be happy as hell, you know. So she shared it on Vero, and their first video got like 1,000 views, you know, like instantly, like in a day or two, you know.
Wow.
And it was so they just wanted to do podcasting every day after that, you know. And then it was, so Fiona said, come to Vero and you can share it yourself, you know. So I went over to Vero, and me and Fiona used to keep in touch through inbox. She was the one who got me over to Vero. She was the one who told me everybody to follow and shit like that. So I used to only talk to Fiona through inbox. And she was always like, I'm going to show Zack Snyder this. And then she will come back and she said, oh, Zack loved it. He likes it, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I just sat back and I was quiet for a long time, you know, like I was on Vero, but I wasn't saying anything because I wanted to see what it was. So I used to just go look at Zack Snyder's, like comment section from he put a post and all these people would talk on his comments or whatever. But they were all, I don't know, man. They were saying wrong shit, you know, like, I don't know. They would just say their interpretation of what Zach posted. And in my mind, I would be like, no, that's not what he meant, you know, like, he's talking some deep shit, you know, or whatever. But I think Zack Snyder is like a conspiracy theorist, right? Like me. So I think I can understand him a little bit more, but so at the time I used to like watch like Chris Wong and Dave the Film Junkie and shit like that. And I was with this girl, and I used to always watch their videos and shit, or watch whoever's videos, whoever said anything about the Snyder Cut, I would watch it. But I would sometimes argue at the TV, like, no, dude, y'all don't know what the fuck y'all talking about, you know? And then I would go in the comment section, and I remember there was this one time, everybody was like, oh, are we going to see the black suit? And I was like, yo, you already saw the black suit. It's in Man of Steel when Zod is talking to Superman, you know?
Yeah,
like,
not just that, but everybody also in that one, there's in the background, there's a moon in Man of Steel, and it's broken.
Right, it's Krypton, right?
No, I think it's the moon, because there's in All-Star Superman, he has a fight with Kryptonians, and they fight on the moon and actually break it. So I don't know if
right. Yeah, I saw somebody post that the other day or something like that.
Oh, they did? Oh, no, I just knew that.
Oh, yeah. See, I know you're smart, but that was the first time I noticed that. But I remember the black suit, and then...
Right? They both had a black suit.
Yeah, right. So then I remember some people took credit for that, but they didn't give me no credit because I said it. Like, way before I started making go deep about Zack Snyder. I mean, about the Justice League, because I made a go deep about Zack Snyder a long time ago, only because I like Zack Snyder, not because, you know, the Snyder Cut or whatever.
Right.
So then, I remember, I don't know whether it was Chris Wong or somebody, it was like news, you know, it was like, oh yeah, the black suit was in Man of Steel. So I'm like, damn, y'all didn't know that? Like, in my head, I'm like, but also I'm like, damn, why nobody gave me the credit for this shit? But so my girlfriend's listening to me saying this, and she was like, well, shit, why don't you just stop going in their comment section and make your own shit? You know? So I was like, oh yeah, you're right.
Ding ding.
So then I started making go deep, and I started saying what I wanted to say and go deep. And that was because me watching on Vero, people would just, I don't think they would get what Zack Snyder was saying, you know? I think they were missing the point. I think a lot of people were there just to, like, kiss Zack Snyder's ass or some shit like that. You know?
I get the vibe a lot, too. I get, like, people just want some any amount of fame as fast as possible, you know?
Right. So that's pretty much where it comes from, because it was like, so if you really look at Zack Snyder, he's trying to tell us something, you know? He's trying to tell us something big. Like, and I've been trying to figure this out for the longest, but I know he's usually talking about like the New World Order. I know he's talking about, you know, the world changing and there's some type of technology that's coming online, just all kind of shit. But then when you look at, if you look at his fans or anything, they're always on some shit like, hey, Zach, man, that's a nice shot you did, or that's, you know, and I'm like, damn, y'all are missing the point. You know,
well,
so that
he has nice shots. That's his damn job.
Yeah,
and
no,
he does. Good at it. So I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like, that's kind of obvious.
Right, right.
You know?
He does, but it's like, I think they'd be missing the point of what he's trying to say, or they don't even really understand that there's a message to it. So that's what I wanted to do about Go Deep, because if you look at my early, like, we're on what, episode 102? My
103.
First 103, right. So Zack Snyder, my first Zack Snyder episode was episode 3 and episode 3.5. And
wow, that's a lot of threes.
Yeah, it was just so like I said, it was, you know how movies have a weirder breakdown or a deeper breakdown or a deeper meaning. That's what I wanted to do with Go Deep, find that deeper meaning. So I had, you know, Christopher Nolan movies, I had The Prestige, I had Zack Snyder, I had Oblivion on my early stages. I even did one about Black Panther. But then after I started really, really paying attention to Vero, I was like, yo, y'all are kind of missing it. Let me tell you kind of what I think Zack Snyder's talking about. And that's when I started coming up with all my, like, all that conspiracy theory shit I was telling you about years ago. Mm-hmm. That all came in handy now, because it was like, oh, I know what he's talking about. I've seen videos about this shit. Let me just put it in my own words with some music, some cool music, and then I'll match it up to what I think his scenes are about. And that's what Go Deep is right now, you know? Wow. Yeah, that's so all beautiful. That shit that I've been studying when I first got arrested is coming in handy now. And what's even crazier, those my intro music and shit like that, I always do like a little intro video with some shit. Like, so there was this one.
I kind of do too. I totally copied you.
Man, it's all good. We brothers, dog.
Yeah. Just
so there was this one I had with Scarface, and he was over. I put him in a mashup with this Dracula music, and he was like, "You need people like me because you're afraid to say what you want to, you know, some shit like that."
Yeah.
But when I put it out originally, I put that out. That was the intro to my first mixtape in 2011 or 2012. And nobody got it. You know, nobody understood it. But when I put it out now, I can put it on my podcast today, and people will be like, oh, shit, man, that's the greatest shit I ever heard, you know? And I'm like, damn, where were y'all 10 years ago, you know? But now all of the shit that I've been studying, like back in the day that I told you about 8 years ago, is what I'm doing right now. Is just, I think I was just studying 8 years too early, I guess. I don't know.
Wow. You're on point, man. Is that I know what you're talking about with Zach being a conspiracy theorist too. I believe it because first of all, a lot of people don't understand his movies if you blink. That's my opinion. And because he's a very visual storyteller, and he loves sound too. So you hear a lot of atmospheric, and even some of the action has a rhythm to it. It's really beautiful. So he really knows how to paint a story. But I learned the most about him during that Watchmen screening at SnyderCon, because he told more about Snyder Cut in his answers for the Watchmen screening than he did for BVS, really. And
wow, really?
Yeah, because he said, well, I'll get to the point, but for example, he said he and Deborah were surprised that the director's cut did come out the way that it did. And he said that if it didn't, then he would have been showing us a movie that no one's seen for like 10 years.
Wow.
Now, 10 years is usually 10 or 20 years is usually contractually where the director's cut can legally easily come out or something like that.
Right.
And that's just something I know. And then Jay Oliva said that maybe the Snyder cut will come out in 10 or 20 years. So that just proves my theory, I think. And but anyways, during that Watchmen screening, he said he was asking if anyone caught the nod of like because we had this discussion after seeing the movie where he's like the opening scene where he's got Dr. Manhattan taking a video of the man on the moon. I'm forgetting his name.
Right.
Armstrong, right? And then
right.
he says something like "Good job, good day, or congratulations, Gorky," or something like that. Where Zack Snyder said that's a nod to Armstrong's neighbor, because he said that there was a story that he was telling his neighbors that he was going to go to the moon, and then the wife of Gorky or whatever, she said, "Yeah, right, you're not going to go to the moon. If you go to the moon, I'll give Gorky a blowjob," or something like that, right? And then that's what Zack Snyder said, and he said he plugged that into the film for that, a nod to that.
Right.
Now, someone who understands that kind of story and historical comedy and a nod to actual, these stories we hear when you do any historical study of anybody, you come up with these little, moments in life that they had. Now, only someone who's like a historian or likes to study things would come up with something like that. So that's what tells me Zack Snyder's definitely on the point of like you and me looking deeper beyond certain things.
Right, he is. He definitely is, and I noticed that on Zero.
Because nothing's by accident in his shots and frames.
Correct.
Artistically or metaphorically, it's just so rich.
Right. I definitely agree, man. And when I used to post it on Vero, like conspiracy theorist videos, and he used to like them shit, and I'm like,
there you go.
I'm like, all right. So that's I kind of knew just by his movies, especially Watchmen. I kind of knew that he was into conspiracy,
Yeah. So I have probably a few other questions. We'll probably call it quits. But
all right.
How would you explain the Snyder Cut situation to someone who doesn't know? Imagine it's a beautiful girl and she's like, "What is Snyder Cut, Pili?"
Right.
And then you would be like, "I oblige." What would you say to her?
That happened the other day, actually.
Oh, you dog.
No, hell no. I had on the hat you sent me, the Snyder Cut hat, and it was, she was like, "What is release?"
Uh-oh. Did I lose you?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Barely. Sounds like you're in the toilet. Now you're gone. Oh, it sounds like you're coming back wherever you are.
Yeah, I went and sat down, so it probably.
Oh, there you go.
Probably wasn't. All right, so homegirl asked me what is release of Snyder Cut, and I told her, and it was just like, let's see how I worded it. So I told her, "Do you know who Zack Snyder is?" And she was like, "No." But I told her that, the movie 300, Batman vs. Superman, everybody knows 300. Even now when I say, the movie Wonder Woman, and they're like, "Yeah, I know Wonder Woman." And I say, "You know who Ben Affleck is?" "Yeah, I know who Ben Affleck." And I'm like, they were in a movie together? No, what movie was that? Like, it's called Batman vs. Superman,
Right.
But they all know what 300 is. Just not many people know what Batman vs. Superman is,
Yeah.
So I started telling her, Wonder Woman and Ben Affleck was in a movie, and it's Batman vs Superman. And I got it, and blah blah blah. So then we started talking about that, and she was like, "Well, what is the Snyder Cut?" So I told her that he was doing the movie Justice League, and everybody was like, "Yeah, I know Justice League." But she said, "What happened to Justice League? I thought it was going to make more money than Avengers. Everybody thought it was going to be bigger than the Avengers." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Yeah, that's the problem." So the Snyder Cut is the real version of Justice League, because his daughter had he had an issue. His daughter died while he was filming the movie, and he had to stop and go tend to family matters or whatever. So
we're losing you again.
All right. Am I back? All right. So I said he had to stop and go tend to family matters, and instead of Warner Brothers waiting for him to come back, they used that as an opportunity to make the movie more like Disney, Marvel type. And then she kind of understood what I was saying at that time.
They pretty much reshot a whole new film on top of his film, in place of his film.
Exactly. So I just explained it to her like that. But so most of the time when people, at first, nobody knew what the Snyder Cut was. And in my neck of the woods, nobody really knew anything about Zack Snyder. But at first, I got people kind of asking about Zack Snyder, because I used to make like little Facebook Live videos while watching BVS or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I would film it, and people would be like, "Oh shit, what is that on? What movie is that?" And I'd be like, "That's Man of Steel, And they're like, "Oh shit, who made that?" And I'm like, "This the Snyder Cut shit I've been talking about for the past year." And they're like, "Oh, okay." So then I remember I showed them Snow Steam Iron on Facebook, and they were like, "Oh my God, he did this with a cell phone?" And now everybody's liking Zack Snyder. But it took me about a year to get everybody, onto it. But I mean, I guess they're seeing now. So I think the next Zack Snyder movie is going to be huge, because I think everybody knows who he is and what he's been through by now.
Also, that clip Samantha posted, she's a stunt woman that Zack used as a Kryptonian, the Kryptonian that threw Lois in the little area on the Kryptonian ship before she saw Jor-El. She was also an Amazon, the one who threw the knives in slow motion, the one who got crushed on the horse later. And then she was... She was also... was she in BVS? I can't remember. But yeah, she's the one... she's in Army of the Dead. And it looks like they gave her a lead role in that, so that's really good. She's just amazing. I follow her. She's an amazing martial artist. So seeing that clip of her kicking ass so fast in like Army of the Dead, in like a few seconds, I was like, oh man, I'm feeling Zack's magic is coming back.
Hell yeah. I can't wait to see that movie, by the way.
Oh yeah, and I wanted, because there's going to be a lot of messages in that. And I hope it's going to help the Snyder Cut too.
I hope so too, man. I mean, and what, Jason Momoa has been saying lately, and what he's been saying right after Aquaman, I think is going to help. And, at that time, we knew we had some infighting in the industry. I mean, in our little movement, but we didn't know who was doing it. So now I think we kind of have singled them guys out. So now I think whenever Zack puts out next, whenever people come with their naysaying bullshit, we'll be more prepared, because before with BVS, we wasn't really prepared for that Rotten Tomatoes score. No, and that fucked us up.
I don't like the whole idea of Rotten Tomatoes. That's just a bad idea altogether.
Right.
I'm against that.
So I think we're more prepared now to defend Zack Snyder. Plus, I think he's about to unleash the real Zack Snyder,
Oh, yeah. And it's really important, too, because what I learned from Superman, because I grew up actually not a Superman fan, a Batman fan, Marvel fan, hated Superman. But then around 2009, I became a Superman fan when I finally took advice from a friend who does a best friend of mine actually, and then it was actually Yokai Robo. He's on my show every now and then.
Right.
But
I
started reading some Superman comics, and I fell in love with the character. I watched all the show. I caught up on Smallville, whatever. And by the time Man of Steel came out, I was like, oh crap! Now that I know Superman, I really hope this is going to deliver, which it did. So I was really happy. But the thing is that Superman, I was ignorant about Superman the whole time. Everything I accused Superman of being was the polar opposite. And he was really rich, deep character. There's so many layers. It's exciting and da-da-da. There's a philosophy. There's a sociological thing, psychological, everything. It was a very rich thing. And I feel like the real life Superman, not saying that, he's a hero, but metaphorically would be like Zack Snyder's work, because the reasons people hate him outside of taste, everyone has their taste, but the people who really hate him and call him misogynistic and racist and all whatever that is not true, reflects that ignorance I had towards the character Superman. But then once I got over my ignorance and actually read and got to know the quality of the character, my life changed for the better and my perception changed. I deprogrammed, and I feel like we're doing for Zach is putting the truth out there, because he's a humble guy. He lets his work speak for himself. But but he doesn't speak so much because of studio bullshit, right? So I think what we're doing, what you do, what I do, what everyone does, is very important to be creative and keep the truth alive. Because one thing that bothers me is censorship, controlling propaganda, which now we know it's legal, and then all that shit. So I think just because something's legal doesn't mean it's right. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And like Disney, for example, they have the legal rights to end certain movies or cancel certain movies at Fox because they pose a marketing threat to their product, whatever. That's legally their right, but that's wrong, because you're destroying so many productions and voices just to control a narrative. See, the fact that we're putting out the truth of Snyder Cut is a good practice of getting away from the bullshit. And we already, like you said, there's a lot of sharks that just want fame and all that too.
Right. I agree.
So I want to leave you with the final thoughts of this Snyder Cut movement, and let's have you do some shout outs. Haha.
First, let me shout out Kojay, because he's the coolest dude in the world.
Shut up, that's too biased.
Kojay is the shit.
Thank you, man.
Let's see. Shout out Brian Kuhn. Shout out the whole TPZ. Shout out, man, all the Spartans. Everybody, man. Special shout outs, I guess. Gotta shout out 44. Gotta shout out Will Rollins. Dr. Meme Hatton.
Yeah, that guy's cool. I caught up on your podcast today. That was awesome. That was cool.
Yeah, Meme Hatton he's real cool. He I started talking to Meme Hatton a while ago, but we kind of keep touching base every now and then. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, because I'm finding out about these people, and then I'm like, oh shit, I haven't followed you yet. I thought I did, because I see shit all. So I'm still getting to know everybody too. But yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. All right, no, just shout out to everybody. Shout out to Abdul, of course. Shout out to Fiona, of course. Shout out to Anthony Fabrizio. Man, there's so many people, dog. Shout out to Justy, Big Iron. Oh, fuck, man. I don't know, man. Shout out to everybody.
It's all good.
Yeah, everybody. Shout out to Zach. Definitely. Shout out to Zach and Deborah Snyder, little Eli, and all those guys.
Yeah, much love. So what would you say is the final note you want to give people regarding Snyder Cut?
Shit. I don't know. I think the Snyder Cut movement has brought together a lot of cool people. I think the Snyder Cut movement has kind of called out to the troops that, all these little conspiracy theorists and all these people that's been feeling weird and odd their whole life. I think we got a little family right now in the Spartans. You're welcome to join the Spartans, and we'll take good care of you. I'm just interested in seeing the Snyder Cut, but before that, I guess I want to see Army of the Dead. I kind of want to see some updated Zack Snyder shit.
Hell yeah.
But I do want to see this. I want to see the Snyder Cut. I miss Ben Affleck as Batman, and I want to see more of that shit.
Hell yeah. Me too.
Yeah. Thank you, Kojay, for interviewing me, man. I gave you a lot of shit that I never give nobody else. So.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I mean, I would rather the world have seen the Snyder Cut in theaters, but
yeah,
in a way, since they destroyed something good, that goodness didn't go away, and I guess I feel like in a way it kind of spread itself out through all of us, and we're finding ourselves together because the energy of that quality was so good that we all feel it, and it's that love of that movie that we were going to have, that we still have for it, that I think woken up in all of us.
Hell yeah.
So, and I got into this late because I thought the director's cut would come out. I only started voicing myself because I was like, what? It's not coming out? That's stupid. And then following down the narrative, I didn't realize I'd, become close with you and other people. But man, you've got me out of my shell to finally do my podcast and whatever. But I also just want to give a shout out to you because you've really been like a good friend and a brother from another mother. And one day we gotta have some drinks, bro. It'd be good.
Hell yeah, dog. I'm working on it. I'm thinking about coming out to California soon. I got some flyer miles on my credit card that I can use. But
we'll figure it out, man.
Yeah,
it'll be great. And I just want to thank you.
Yeah, thank you too, man.
And one last time, can you tell the audience what Go Deep stands for? Because
Go Deep stands for God. See, so if you look at Go Deep, there's GODEEP. So that's God experiences everyone's perspective. So that's why I interview everybody, because there's a perspective in everyone.
Ah, it's beautiful, brother. Thank you. All right, God bless, and I guess I'll just talk to you soon, but I'm going to drop this episode later. Wow, I'm sounding like you already.
All right, bro. Well, just tag me in it, and I'll be happy to share it and spread the love, bro.
Much love, man. All right, peace.
All right.
And release the Snyder Cut.
Hell yeah.
All the shit they must have told. Let my enemies yell at me, hobby for the young bro. It's a tragedy when someone black as me get go. Time of slaughter, Street Fighter fist, that's Nintendo. Tell my alma mater, gotta send me money, Venmo. Put us on the map, don't sleep, siesta man blow. Jacobino nigga serenading with a banjo. Real record stool with a crew, carry ammo. I predicted winning would be something so taboo. But now I'm monkeying around with my brother's baboons. Atlanta and Hollywood, it's on schedule. Chef in the bank, been eating, check my deno. Plenty sugar, sweet life, kicked it in the penhole. My sheets all green, they don't knit me a bando. And a nice sweater too, fit scene levels. Flowing hair shining, I need me a drum roll. I'm too raw, I'm a villain, I'm a don. Mask and a cake, somebody ring the alarm. Bar, can't tame me now. Started that flame, somebody ring the alarm. I'm too raw, I'm a villain, I'm a don. Mask and a cape, somebody ring the alarm. Bar, can't tame me now. Started that flame, somebody ring the alarm. Stumbled in a function, all black like Keaton. Ready to deck a nigga, I'm just looking for a reason. I've been done, leaped off the deep end. Been to date all these niggas that wouldn't feed them. And he serve it raw cut like Redville. And only attended school to sell pills. His red steel on the scene when it's bread near. And he'll kill if you try to interfere, ayy. Not plotting no heist of a 20 million. I'm scouting like the Black Pat Gillet. For the land where they killing they landlords for the rent due. And common issues lead to firearm misuse. Only lie to the judge of the federales. I'm only hoping I get this bond from the magistrate. My mama hoping I abandon my cancerous ways. And sick mama, this cancer's in a state. I'm too raw. I'm a villain, I'm a don. Mask and a cape, somebody ring the alarm. Raw, can't tame me, nah. Started that flame, somebody ring the alarm. I'm too raw. I'm a villain, I'm a don. Mask and a cape, somebody ring the alarm. Raw, can't tame me, nah. Started that flame, somebody ring the alarm.
Wanna see a black man ball, Boris Hojo. See a monkey with a brain, yeah, I be the mojo. Jojo said it was guerrilla warfare. Try to box me in like a game of 4 square. Strip me of my rights and leave me beating the cup. Had me digging my own grave like I'm Shia LaBeouf. You see it, repeat it. They wanna see all my people depleted. Say we anemic, then they give us the pill with diseases. Then pledge allegiance to the almighty legion. Bald eagle soaring over my damn region. All seeing eye, you can see what you never saw. Would say I'm real, but I tell you that
I'm too raw. I'm a villain, I'm a don. Mask and a cape, somebody ring the alarm. Raw, can't tame me, nah. Started that flame, somebody ring the alarm. I'm too raw. I'm a villain, I'm a don. Mask and a cape, somebody ring the alarm. Raw, can't tame me, nah. Started that flame, somebody ring